And we're back on USA Prepares. This is 1340 AM, the Ozarks Big Talker. I'm Mark Wright, and my co-host is the original survival economist, Vince Finelli. We got a wonderful guest going to join us in the studio here, or actually going to call into the studio, John Moore. Vince, why don't you welcome John Moore to the show today?
I'd love to. John Moore is a friend of ours, and a friend of those that are concerned. John Moore is a very serious climate change investigator and researcher. Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelt, for what you are about to hear is not for the faint of heart. Welcome, John Moore.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good to be with you.
John, I've seen your DVD. Mark has seen your DVD. Climate change, what we're not supposed to know. Can you give us a thumbnail about what the viewers would see and why this is so important? Okay,
gentlemen, thank you. In 1979, the federal government of the United States figured out what would be happening 10 to 30 years in the future, which would be a gradual changing of climate, culminating in violent, abrupt climate change and rising ocean levels. Beginning in 1979, gentlemen, they started briefing, and the briefings began in the U.S. Navy, classified briefings. The first briefings in 1979 were for flag rank officers, admirals. By 1985, I verified this, that all members of the United States Navy Submarine Corps were present in these briefings, and ever since, of course. What they were told was, gentlemen, these events being violent climate change and rising ocean levels, these events will happen in your lifetime, not your children's, not your grandchildren's. These events will happen in your lifetime. And when it comes time to retire, you might want to consider moving to the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks as a safe haven. At these briefings, gentlemen, they were also shown maps, classified maps produced by the scientists in the U.S. Navy, showing North America with new coastlines, dramatically different than the current coastlines. And they were also shown the same map that showed the Mississippi River Valley being dramatically different than it is now, with the Mississippi River being 50 to 100 miles wide, 100 to 200 feet deep. East Coast, West Coast, Gulf Coast taking damage typically 50 to 100 miles inland, wiping out about where 50, 60% of the people of this country, their homes, their businesses, schools, everything, are currently are. To say the least, this would be the end of the world as we know it.
Absolutely. And how different would that be to the people where we are in the United States compared to what happened to the people that were right in the tsunami's way in Japan?
Well, you're talking about people in the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks?
I'm talking about people that would be affected by the tides rushing in. Is there any difference between what would happen to us?
The main difference would be there would be some warning. The Navy veterans, were the Navy participants in these briefings, they were told that there would be about a 1-month period of time when it became very clear that the oceans were going to be doing very strange things and coming out of their banks, as opposed to minutes warning with the tsunami/tidal wave that happened in Japan a few weeks ago. So there would be, hopefully, warning in days, if not weeks, leading up to this event. So that would be a real blessing and could save a lot of lives.
John, this is very sobering. This is not stuff that we're making up. This is stuff.
No, it's not. And the audience, you're broadcasting on a commercial radio station down there in Springfield.
Yes, we are.
And I don't know what the listening radius is. It's 50 miles or 75 or 100 miles, and of course on the internet as well. But both of you know, gentlemen, I teach concealed carry training for people to carry pistols concealed and get their permit. And I do that in the Ozarks. And in the past 5 years, I've debriefed 24 Navy veterans, most of them residing in the Ozarks, all of them residing in the Ozarks because of the classified briefings that they attended beginning in 1979. One friend in particular, he's interviewed on my DVD, Global Warming, What the Government's Telling You, Mr. Tim Spencer, the submarine veteran. He agreed to go public with me, the only Navy veteran that's done so. He and his wife, Laurie, are from Central Florida, and having lunch in a restaurant about 2 years ago, his wife said, "John, I'm from Central Florida. I like fresh seafood. I don't like cold weather. I don't like ice. I don't like snow. I don't even like Missouri. But we're here because of that map." And, of course, the map is on my DVD as well. And I should warn people, there's circulating on the Internet something that claims to be the U.S. Navy map, which is not. It's actually a map done by Gordon Michael Scallion, a psychic that's been around since about, the mid-1980s.
I know
Navy veterans
Gordon
have
Michael
reviewed
Scallion.
Scallion's map, and here's what they tell me. From the Rocky Mountains east, it's fairly accurate, except for they don't show on Scallion's map, but Wisconsin being gone, the Navy map does. From the Rocky Mountains west, Scallion's map is not even close to the Navy map. Scallion's map shows entire states gone, west of the Rocky Mountains, where the Navy map shows damage 50 to 100 miles inland in Baja California, the state of California, Oregon, and Washington State.
John, that is obviously very sobering information, but it makes me feel good as an Ozarker that I'm living in the right part of the country, and I can categorically confirm that what you're saying is absolutely correct about military intelligence personnel and naval personnel that have moved to the Ozarks. Just came out of state government, and I've met a lot of these people campaigning over the years, asking them where they're from.
You didn't know why, did you?
No, I didn't know why at that time.
Few months.
Yeah, that's right. I did not know why until the last couple of months after speaking with you and various other people. We actually met a naval military intelligence retired officer recently and I won't mention his name, and I won't mention where his business is, but he has a little restaurant here in town, and he confirmed what you had been telling us months ago, why he's here in the Ozarks. So it's comforting to know I'm in the right part of the country.
This is good. I mean, it's always good to get confirmation. I'll be in Springfield for the expo in a couple of weeks, and I really appreciate an introduction to this gentleman if he'd agree.
You will get one. I will personally do that. And you're going to be at the GetPreparedExpo.com event May 14th. You're going to be our Saturday night keynote banquet speaker, and I think you're going to have quite a bit more information available to the people. So if you're interested in hearing John Moore, I mean, this is a very serious man with credentials that are completely impeccable. He knows what he speaks of, and if you have an interest in hearing John Moore, I really encourage you to go to GetPreparedExpo.com. We have tickets on sale right now. You can hit the store tab at the top of the GetPreparedExpo.com webpage and buy those tickets. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people there Saturday night. John, you'll be there. John Statmiller, your boss, is going to be there as well, and we are so excited about you coming down to the Ozarks and telling this information to people who need to hear it.
John, we have a link at our website, so if people want to find out more about you, they can just go to the first page of usaprepares.com, usaprepares.com, and they'll see your picture, they'll see some YouTube video of you, and they can click on John Moore, and it'll take them right to your site.
John, how do people get your DVD series?
Say again the question, please.
Okay, usaprepares.com. That's exactly right. Okay, John, tell us. Can you tell the audience? Obviously, you're going to be talking a little bit about what you just stated in regards to the New Madrid fault line. What are some other issues that our listeners need to be aware of in regards to climate change?
Well, as I refer to it, it's the second most important story in 2,000 years. The most important story, obviously, being the birth of our Lord Jesus. The second most important story is the fact that the Gulf Stream stopped last June of 2010. June 12th, 2010, the Gulf Stream stopped.
John, can you tell us what...
Everything else we're concerned about pales in comparison. Even the threat of world war pales in comparison to the Gulf Stream stopping when it comes to long-term effect of human beings on this planet.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to have to take a break. I tell you, John, I'm looking forward to, on the other side of the break, I want to hear the rest of that story, and we appreciate you joining us today. If you'll just hold on, we'll be back. This is Mark and Vince with USA Prepares. We're on 1340 AM, The Big Talker. We'll be right back after the break with climate change expert John Moore. And we're back on USA Prepares on 1340 AM, the Ozarks Big Talker. I'm Mark Wright, and my co-host, the original survival economist, Vince Finelli, is here. And we're back with climate change expert John Moore. Vince, take it away.
John, what you've said is sobering. Actually, sobering doesn't come close to describing the feelings that you've evoked. What do we do about it? Okay, so it's coming. We believe you. I absolutely do. I've moved here. I felt the same way. I've arrived at the same conclusions independently from you and the people that you've debriefed. I moved here 5 years ago. I knew that this was something that could happen. What do we do about it?
Well, I'll tell you what the majority of men I know that have known about this for many years are doing. Without exception, first of all, they've all moved to the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks. Without exception, they all have homesteads where they could grow fruits and vegetables, maybe have maybe some goats or something of that nature. They don't necessarily become cattle ranchers. Typically, it's a small acreage, 3 to 5 acres, maybe 20 acres, and they've begun a lifestyle that is comfortable and fun, and long term, they believe will be sustainable. In the event that the world as we know it no longer functions, and that daily commerce as we know it no longer functions, and that the power grid as we know it is either not reliable any longer or just simply doesn't exist. And they've set up a lifestyle and a place to do this, and they basically go on with their lives. Now, the majority of them have told their wives, their spouses. I've ran into a couple, however, who did these things without telling their women, without telling their wives, which I think is a mistake, but that's their choice.
I agree with you.
And that's pretty much it. It's not really complex. The things you need, the skills you need, the supplies and equipment you need are common skills, common supplies, and common equipment on ranches and farms all over the United States. Not particularly unusual or difficult. What might be unusual would be making preparations to have electricity long term without the power grid. And we're not talking a 5 kW gasoline gem set from your local hardware store.
Yeah,
it's
that won't do it.
It's a bit more expensive and a bit more complex than that.
John, we have at the expo, we have gotten the best experts that we can find, and we have a friend of yours who's going to be talking about steam power and steam power generation, and we have another couple experts talking about solar power and wind power. Yeah, that's exactly correct. So we've assembled the best experts that we can find, but it's absolutely fascinating that over the last couple of days we've had a horrific rain. I couldn't get home. My son John Michael couldn't get home. Mark had trouble getting home. And where are you right now?
Well, I can't get home as we speak. I'm sitting in a restaurant about a half-hour drive from my home. I have a creek that's normally ankle deep running through my property with a concrete bridge that's 3 feet above the creek, and the creek is now on top of the bridge. So I'm stuck until the water goes down. Typically, it's 2 to 4 hours.
So what we have, this is just a little drill as to what may come. Just a little tiny drill, because we still have electricity. The phones are still working. The cell phones are still working. And stores still have some food. So this is just a tiny, tiny drill, wouldn't you say?
Well, you could look at it that way. And then we were talking off the air before the show today how to turn a negative into a positive. And what we're experiencing here, we typically have rainstorms in the Ozarks in the springtime. That's not unusual. I don't know about records or record-breaking in this regard. I do know that what's going on out west in the Texas, Oklahoma, western Kansas area is breaking records. Records typically, weather records, go back about 115, 120 years or so to the 1890s. And what's happening in Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma has no precedence in terms of drought. You get a couple hundred miles east, and we're getting deluged.
I know that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, we hear about all of these tornadoes and the droughts, and then what's happening. My family's from Texas, from Fort Worth, and I was talking with my sister a few days ago about the massive drought. The wind is just blowing ferociously, and fires have started, and the wind's blowing the fires, and then tornadoes are whipping the wind.